everybody, great to see you all again, and, well, would you look at that, is it Fire Emblem time again already? So I was brainstorming some ideas for the next Fire Emblem video, but didn't exactly know what to go with. I decided to see if I could pull some inspiration from Echo since as of this recording, it's just around the corner, and the thing that really got my attention were the new character designs. That got me thinking, man, there are some really great character designs in the Fire Emblem series. With this in mind, I decided the top 10 list celebrating these designs would be best, but as I got to work and looked at characters from all corners of the Fire Emblem universe, it quickly became a top 20. And now it's the top 30. So join me everyone, as it's time to gear up, raise our morale and prepare to make our way down the catwalk as I count down my top 30 Fire Emblem character designs. Naturally, this is all my opinion and a purely personal list since, well, I'm judging character designs. The entire point of this video is to be subjective, so if there are some characters you don't feel look as good as I make them out to be, that's fine, you have every right to disagree. For this video, I should be looking at characters from all the Fire Emblem games, and while certain characters have several different designs throughout the course of the franchise, I'm going to focus on what I feel to be the best version of them. Also, to give you all an idea of what to expect from this video, in my eyes, good character design is a case of not only reflecting the character's attitude and personality, but also standing out visually while not being too in your face or ostentatious about it. So characters that aren't even trying won't be on here, and those trying way too hard won't be on here either. And that includes characters revealing way too much skin, so sorry ladies, not this time. Oh, don't give me that look, there will be plenty more opportunities for you in the future. And with all that cleared up, let's say we apply our fashion goggles and see what's on display for us, and with over 30 candidates at the ready, we are most definitely in for quite the fashion show. Cordelia and Sonya. Starting off with two of my favourite Pegasus Knights and two of the best waifus in Awakening, I told you this series had great character designs. The reason I chose to put both these two characters in this spot is that I feel they both embody the ideal look for Pegasus Knight, with either one focusing slightly more on a particular personality trait. It's the little things really. Both Cordelia and Sonya are very beautiful looking ladies, and the armour they wear helps to show off their figure and physique, but also look very proud and resilient. Cordelia's design is more powerful and striking thanks to the red hair and more layers of armour, which reflects her strong will and resolve, whereas Sonya's design looks much more serene and graceful because of the overall soft, slightly pinkish colour scheme, which helps to portray her kind and caring nature. Personally, out of the two, I think Cordelia's design is slightly better due to her coming off as more impressive, but Sonya's design is still great and very close behind, and I just couldn't leave her off this list, and you all know why at this point. Nevertheless, these two lovely ladies are the perfect Pegasus Knights, and they have certainly got this list off to a flying start. Catania. Well, would you look at that, another female mounted unit with red hair. It seems to be a winning formula for the series. Well, whatever works, works, and Catania's design undoubtedly works, as it is powerful, striking and bold, yet elegant, proud and sophisticated. It's no wonder you were Grail's second in command. Unlike most of the Grail mercenaries, Catania's attire looks much more stylish and gallant, which makes sense considering she was once a Knight of Crimea. Being the otherwise mother of the group, Catania has the look of someone who is very powerful and strong, yet also caring and protective, which mirrors her personality to a T. The colour scheme works very well here in my opinion. There's a brilliant balance between the harsh reds and the white armour plating that make Catania look incredibly refined, and her design as a whole is very simple, yet very effective at the same time. Also, she's rocking an awesome ponytail. All in all, Catania's design is really solid and she is one of the best looking paladins out there, but not quite the best. Xander and Possible. Wow, another double entry so soon? I told you narrowing down 30 entries wasn't easy, so exceptions had to be made. Xander and Possible are, in my opinion, the best looking paladins in the series. Their designs command so much power and authority you can't help but feel both inspired and slightly intimidated as well, but that just goes to show they're doing their job right, so they definitely know how to dress for the occasion. Both Xander and Possible are much more imposing than the majority of paladins, having significantly darker colour schemes and being covered in quite a bit of cloth so to speak. While similar, they each have their own unique qualities to them. Percival's design gives off a real sense of power and supremacy, not to mention the long flowing cape and tunic add to the majesty and esteem Percival deserves. Xander doesn't look as intimidating, but he's overall more varied, as the black and yellow on his armour contrast very well together and the pattern work is great. Not to mention the velvet garments help to add that tinge of personality to him, and make him come off as someone who is to be both admired and respected, which is fitting considering he's the Prince of Nor. At the end of the day, both of them are great looking characters, and each one has what the other one doesn't, but to me, they both hold the title of the best looking paladins in the franchise. Zora and Ninian. God damn it, yet another double entry. If this keeps up, it's quickly going to become a top 40. Well, once again, I couldn't decide which of these two look better, so they're sharing the spot, as both Zora and Ninian are some of the most beautiful looking characters in the franchise, and have some of the most infatuating designs out of the entire cast, which makes sense considering they're dancers. You've got to look the part after all. Both Zora and Ninian have very graceful and otherworldly aesthetics to them, with the long flowing hair and dresses, jewels and patterns making up the torso, very calm and tranquil colour schemes, etc. Both of their outfits work in the context of them being dancers and the mystical or spiritual figure for both games. Out of the two, Zora feels much more divine, mainly due to her more feathered and magical look, whereas Ninian feels more like a princess and looks more delicate, and both designs do a great job of reflecting their respective characters' personalities as they should. While similar yet different, both Ninian and Zora are some of the prettiest characters and dancers in the series, which is funny seeing as they're also my two favourite dancers in the franchise as well. Strange how things work out, isn't it? Tethys. While the preceding two dancers were some of the best looking in the series, Tethys is in my opinion the best looking dancer in the series, and I mean that in more ways than one. Tethys not only embodies the overall look and feel of the dancer class, but it's also more unique and different than most of her counterparts, though never to the point where she feels like a stark contrast or too out there, hitting that sweet spot between similar yet different at the same time. The best way to describe Tempest in comparison to the other dancers is that she has a more, how should I put this, gypsy look to her. What with all the different bits of jewellery and pattern work, her partially see-through leggings, her more open and revealing attire, etc. This is what gives Tethys her identity and helps to distinguish her from the crowd, and unlike most dancers who look rather timid and feeble, Tethys looks much more confident and assertive, and you get the impression she has a lot of experience as a dancer, which makes sense considering her backstory. All things considered, Tethys is a perfect example of standing out without going overboard, as well as showing how to be sexy without having to bear all. Take note ladies, take note. Louise. Archers in Fire Emblem have never been particularly impressive when it comes to character design in my eyes. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad, but most of them are rather basic. However, Louise is an exception to this rule. Louise is not only one of the best looking archers in the series, but is also one of the most stylish, sophisticated and sexy Fire Emblem women to date, which goes to show that this lovely lady is a full package. Like most archers, Louise's design is rather straightforward and simple, being very sleek, having a few extra features here and there, all that jazz. Louise, however, takes things up a notch and weaves in elements that make her one of the most tasteful Fire Emblem characters. First of all, the colour scheme is great. The use of pinks and purples contrasting with her white leggings and blonde hair make Louise look very classy and elegant, not to mention rather alluring and glamorous, and the cape is also a very nice touch, adding to her sense of nobility and sophistication. In addition, her attire reflects the type of elegant yet powerful woman Louise is, and though she may not be the most impressive Fire Emblem unit or character, from a visual aspect, she is just great in every sense of the word, and is in my eyes one of the loveliest Fire Emblem ladies. King Garen. Well Garen, you may not act the part when it comes to being a Fire Emblem villain, or a boss for that matter, but you most certainly look the part. Garen has got to be one of the most intimidating and downright threatening Fire Emblem villains to date, which says a lot considering the competition, as well as embodying the harsh lifestyle that plagues Nor. Hey man, if you are the king of a nation, it's gonna rub off of you at some point. Garen is a Goliath of a man that even in his old age looks like he could snap you like a twig, and he has the presence of someone that is not to be messed with, which is evidenced through the fact that no one dared disobey him in fear of being slaughtered, even his own children. Father of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. Garen's main outfit is enormous black and yellow armour similar to that of a general, but the extra features like the purple sash and cape definitely make him look more like a king, showing off Garen's role as both a ruler and a tyrant. Not to mention his complexion manages to convey a sense of power and dominance despite being so withered, and can be viewed as Garen being a shell of his former self. It's no secret that Garen disappointed many people because of how shallow of a villain he was, and to be honest, that might have something to do with the fact that he looked like such a great villain. However, it's like they say, looks can be deceiving. Anna. Well, it may have taken 13 games for Anna to finally be in the spotlight, but my god did she shine brightest in Awakening, as this version of Anna caught the attention of many players, and for a good reason. Anna is certainly one of the most unique looking Fire Emblem characters, and rightfully so, as there really is no one else like her in the series, and the same goes for how she looks, so despite having multiple sisters and being in almost every game, she truly is one of a kind. Anna's awakening design to me is along the lines of that of a jester, having very bright and bold colours and lots of hooked and curved ends to her boots and neckpiece. While this may seem silly, it helps to make Anna stand out and it suits her character to a T. After all, she is very colourful and charming, but easily just as devilishly sly and cunning to boot, so at the very least it looks good on her. Anna's design also meshes very well with the Trickster class, and despite being composed of mainly reds and yellows, the colours blend very well together and make her something that is very simple, yet very effective. And I think that's the best way to describe her design. Simple, yet very effective. And that is something money cannot buy. Sonya. Well, it was only a matter of time before we got round to Echoes, and what better way to start things off than with the seductive Sonya. Now before you cry foul since I stated characters trying too hard to be sexy wouldn't be on here, that's the great thing about Sonya. She isn't trying too hard to be sexy. She does it naturally, as she is both able to excite and entrance without having to bear all and really put herself out there. Less is more, as they say, less is more. Aesthetically, Sonya's design feels like a fusion of a traditional Fire Emblem mage and Dark Mage. She's not as open-skinned as other Dark Mages, while not as covered up as most normal mages, and her colour scheme consists of the brighter colours like reds and yellows, but they are more desaturated and not as bold. Her design is a perfect middle ground between the two and it looks great, making her unique and look right at home as either class. Sonya is also known for oozing with womanly charm, and it certainly shows, as she reveals just enough of her legs and chest to seduce you, but never giving away too much and leaving the rest up to your imagination, which I feel is the best way to go about things. By the looks of it, Fire Emblem Echoes is shaping up to be a fantastic game for many reasons, and character redesigns like this are evidence of that. Niles. One of the more underrated character designs in my opinion, Niles is someone I feel deserves much more appreciation in regards to his looks. Not to say he's particularly attractive, though Corin seems to like him, but he's certainly one of the more unique looking Fire Emblem characters even by Fate standards, while at the same time being very down to earth and subtle about it. Being one of the darkest characters in Fate, Niles' design is very bleak and shady, mostly consisting of blacks, greys and very dark blues, along with lacking many extra features or accessories minus the eye patch. While his design is rather simple, the entire outfit works well to portray a more rugged and sinister look, and this is backed up by the complexion in Niles' face and hair, since like Garen, Niles' skin is very dull and faded, and his hair is unnaturally white, almost ghost-like as if he were a phantom. Niles has the look of someone who's been worn down by the world, where life has taken its toll on him and he's been through the worst of the worst, which, when you take his supports into consideration, does a great job of portraying Niles' character and backstory visually, and it's for these reasons that I find Niles to have a very strong and very underrated character design, as he is a perfect example of show, don't tell. Joshua. I bet this guy caught everyone's attention when they first played Sacred Stones. I mean, by this point the game has already shown us some cool looking, if somewhat traditional characters, but then suddenly this guy shows up to rub in everyone's faces just how awesome he is. Though based on his performance in Sacred Stones and just how cool he is, can you really blame him for bragging? Joshua is one of the slickest and most interesting designs in the series. First off, the dark green or black attire and striking red hair contrast beautifully together, making Joshua look very standout and memorable, as well as reflecting his fondness for gambling. Secondly, there's the case of the hat. While it may seem trivial to focus on this one item of clothing, the hat Joshua wears adds to the mystery of his character and gives him a more oriental look compared to everyone else, even slightly regal in essence, which for those who play Sacred Stones will understand why this makes so much sense. All of this combined makes Joshua an incredibly mysterious and remarkable looking character, grabbing your attention as soon as you lay eyes on him, but also having much more meaning the closer you look. Ira. As great as Genealogy of the Holy War is, the one thing I cannot get behind is how badly this game is aged visually. To be fair, the battle sprites look fine, but the character portraits are just... ugh. That being said, some of the cast still look good to this day, and Ira is one of them. In fact, her design has been the base for many other characters that followed in her footsteps, so she has aged like a fine wine. Ira has pretty much set the standard for all Myrmidons that followed on from her, with the long flowing slightly open outfit, the small but noticeable areas of armor plating, the single color scheme used throughout the piece, etc. Ira's design is very straightforward but also very impressive, emphasizing the confident, calm and deadly nature of both herself and the class she represents, and despite looking somewhat dated due to the old style of the game, it actually benefits Ira's design for the most part. The art style used for this game makes her look much more badass and powerful than most female characters thanks to the more 90s anime look, but also leaving room to look rather sexy as well. I'll tell you, this woman is something else. While time hasn't been the kindest to Fire Emblem 4, and I mean that in more ways than one, There is still merit to this game even from an artistic standpoint, and Ira is undoubtedly a merit to this game. Patrice. Thanks to this not so lovely lady, Bad has never looked so damn good. Patrice is one of the coolest looking villains in the series and is so threatening and evil that she makes all these other fiendish females look about as threatening as Florina, which goes to show just how menacing this woman is. Well, she is one of the 4 Riders of Dayan after all. Patrice's design just screams evil. She has the pitch black battle gear and blood red cape, the toxic green hair, those deadly purple lips, and the eyes of an animal ready to kill. And if you understood that quip, props to you. Though her design isn't exactly subtle, it embodies everything that's considered dark and dangerous, which is perfect for Patrice as she is a woman of war and one of the most cold-hearted and merciless beings in the Fire Emblem universe. Even with this unpleasantness in hand, Patrice still manages to make this all look so damn good. The green hair and purple lips make her look both unique and stimulating, and her attire makes her look like such a threatening badass and does a great job of showing off her physique. Man, the people of Dayan certainly know how to look cool, don't they? It's no surprise that the villains would be some of the best looking characters in Fire Emblem, and Patrice is unbelievably good looking, and I mean that in more ways than one. Ike. This guy is one of the most popular characters in the Fire Emblem series for many reasons, and to be fair, his design just might be one of them. Ike is one of the most iconic and recognizable characters in the series, yet has one of the simplest and down-to-earth designs out of all the lords. While he has 2 distinct appearances in the Tellius series, I'm going to be focusing on his Path of Radiance look because I think it's overall better. Not to put his Radiant Dawn outfit down, it's just that when I look at that, I see less Radiant Hero and more Black Swordsman, and we've already got one of those in this game. As Ike is a mercenary, he has a very rugged and realistic design, which helps to make him feel more humble and relatable, much like how Ike is in the actual game. But things like the cape and headband help to give him more of a presence and identity. What I like most about his design though is the colour scheme. The use of bright reds, yellows and blues helps to distinguish Ike from everyone else and give off a very heroic and valiant flair, which is perfectly fitting for the odd mercenary and most definitely makes him feel radiant. It's no secret that Ike is one of the best characters in the series from both a writing and gameplay perspective, and in this case, a visual one too. Jafar. Now this is how you represent your respective class. Jafar is exactly what I think when I think of an assassin, as his design fits the bill like no other and makes for a downright badass looking Fire Emblem character. I mean hell, you could put this guy on the front of an Assassin's Creed game and he wouldn't look too out of place. Jafar, being an assassin, has a very dark, almost spectral design, with an all grey or black attire, huge cape to conceal himself, crimson knives that tell you he means business, and a sweet ass tattoo. Jafar from a visual standpoint is everything an assassin should be, and even to this day, no other thief, assassin, trickster, rogue, or ninja comes close to the awesomeness that is Jafar. That's not all though, as there are still elements that help to give Jafar more of an identity. For instance, I like how his upper torso is slightly exposed, as it makes him feel more like an Arabic or Persian assassin, because you know, his name is Jafar. And little things like having his hair exposed rather than concealed makes him feel more human and less emotionless compared to your typical assassin, once again cleverly tying in character design with personality, and thus, Jafar ended up having one of the best designs in the entire series. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for right now, so we're going to break here for the time being. Be sure to tune in next time where I count down the remaining 15 entries for the best character designs in the Fire Emblem series, and see who is the #1 greatest looking Fire Emblem character of all time. In the meantime though, what did you all think of my choices so far, and what are some of your favourite Fire Emblem character designs, or ones you just really happen to like even if they're not the best? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel as well. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at BLAZINGKNIGHT and also follow me on Amino as well. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you all next time.